inks. A little bit different this morning, really quickly. My husband couldn't find them, so I thought I would have to break home some of these my old printer inks. For some reason, left lots of ink in there, so I've kept them. And I thought, well, I'll use them, but luckily I don't need to, because a trip to Wilko's, possibly 2 years ago, I found some printer inks, and I think they're about £3 something. There is a video on this, and they're obviously cyan, magenta, and the very, very vivid yellow. And I made 630 some colours from these three. So I thought that's what we're going to do this afternoon. There's going to be a lot of waffle because I'm not very well, and I've had an hour's sleep for the last couple of days. So, but I can colour mix, hopefully. So we're going to mix 600 colours from these three. And then I did make a couple of videos, and my beautiful camera I've been trying to set up. And when I've got it talking to the camera and made videos, and I've edited them, it won't upload them. And then when I use them to the iPad, YouTube Live won't find my camera. So, yes. And that's not good. Having an attack of gout in there now. There we go. Look, that's new. So not happy. Funny. So very quickly, I am going to have my lunch. Now, the reason my headache's worse is I fell off the wagon. I've been very good living on rice and things, and then I didn't feel very well with the other arthritis and one thing and another, and so I had a bowl of cornflakes, and I thought, well, they've got fortified things in them, and so that might make me feel a bit better. So I I had 3 bowls of cornflakes over 2 days, and then somebody brought a cake in at work, and blah 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 blah, and of course woken up for the last 2 days with the most horrendous headache. So breakfast is now, normally it's more exciting than this. It's just the 2-minute rice, which again I'm not really happy with. I like making my own, but 2-minute rice with some soy sauce in it. When you're hungry in the morning, it's fine, so it works. So that's what I'm back on. So I'm going to have to munch these because I'm going to have my pills. And I've missed the cherry pills, and for some silly reason it's come back. So a quick slurp. I can't put the lid back on this, but I saw this on eBay. Now again, I made a video with my camera, very crisp. Unfortunately, it won't upload, so I'm not a happy girl. So I wanted. We've seen that one before. I'm getting the cart before the horse. I wanted this one, and I saw this, and the reason I wanted this one, I know that one's in a bit of a mess, but it's this thin one that I wanted. Now it's vintage, it's rusty-ish, not too it's not actually rusty, it's just the white enamels come off it a little bit. But I'm going to clean this up and possibly paint the inside, haven't decided yet. And I think that's going to give me I can put my tubes here, squirt my tubes out, let them dry, and then that's so thin that I can put that in a colour book, and it will and I can leave the tubes in here if I want to. So that was from eBay. Now you have to be a bit careful. Obviously it's vintage, it's going to be old and dirty, and it's not going to be in pristine condition. But the other thing that came with that, which I've never seen before, is a metal, and it's a bit stiff, so it hurts my hands. I can't get it back on. Probably why. It wants a bit of oil or something on there. But when you shut it, it's actually in quite nice condition, and I can keep my paintbrushes in there. So that was a purchase from Amazon, obviously, old second-hand. A tip I use is I always look on my phone or my iPad so I can pinch and zoom. And I used to do it on my ordinary little pad, my little what do we call them? Oh, Scooby-Doo. Little tablets. As long as you can pinch and zoom, because when you can pinch and zoom, you can look in all the corners and you can have a good look. Whereas when you just see a photograph or something, you don't always see everything. So that's my tip for buying secondhand on the internet. So I'll pop these to one side because I won't be using them. Let me see if I can chat. Oh, hi Marilyn, hi Dave. Anybody else popping in? Hi, anybody else popping in? Welcome to Bunny's Designs. Whoops, it's gone again. Having to revert back to the iPad, so we're going to have to keep an eye on it to make sure that it behaves itself. So that was a little tin that I plan to use. I've kind of gone back to be vintage again. Now I bought this one last week. And I took the tubes out, and there were other tubes of paint which I'll pass on to my daughter. But I wanted this because, again, it's thin, but it works well. I've got the tubes, I've got the colours, and then I can mix. And again, it's vintage, second hand. And then while I think I was live last week, I saw its counterpart, but instead of being for tubes, it's pans. Yes, Dan, perfect, thank you.
Do you want?
Just 2 seconds. Just bear with me a minute, guys. Sorry, guys, I'm munching rice on the way. So I used to have some little jars that you've got a dessert in, and it has like a dip in the top. So hubby's cleaning these. This is a face cream, but what I might do is actually, so I want this dip, and I'll show you why. So the other little one you can use are the little tiny jam jars that you get. So back to this Rowney Georgian watercolour book. I haven't deciphered. I thought they were student grade, but I haven't read it, and I don't have any oh gosh, sorry guys, I haven't read that they're not student. I thought they were student grade, but they'll still be lovely. They'll still be very good quality and perfect for colour mixing and for watercolours and for watercolouring. So these are the colours, and again, remember what we say about this lemon yellow there. There's Elysian crimson, and there's a cerulean, and of course those are the colours here. So we've got some quite nice colours. Again, the light red there, the sap green, viridian, cobalt blue, French ultramarine, cadmium yellow. Now the vermilion and scarlet, if you had cadmium red, it would be dead in the middle, because cadmium red Scarlet Lake is slightly pinkier than Cad, and Vermilion is slightly orangier. So you'd have Vermilion, Cadmium Red and Scarlet Lake, but they've given you both. So if I was doing my 3 colours or my 6 colours, I would mix these two together and see if I got a Cadmium Red. And then we've got Burnt Sienna and Burnt Umber. So actually, again, it's a very, very good set, is this. It has a very traditional set of colours, and the reason it does that is it has the gamboge, is the fact that there isn't a colour you can't make on the planet with these. So again, it's a lovely set. And then they give you a tube of black and white. So laid out the same at the other side, and I think this was £10, £9.99, so I couldn't resist that. So I have both. So that was, so I was fishing at 3 o'clock, and the Amazon Gremlin doesn't get me, but the eBay second-hand vintage stuff gets me. Apart from this, now you won't actually, this has nothing in it that came in it. I have a new pencil case that I took to Art in the Abbey. It's hand size, and what happens is I've got another little vintage set, but I didn't get that this time. This came last time, and I did spray it with water, and then I was too poorly to use it, so that fits in there. And then in this Japanese mat, which has been turned into a paintbrush, came these 3 travel brushes. Now I've been wanting to use some of these for a while, so these are gorgeous, and I've seen them for £28, and I think I paid 16, but I waited months for them. So again, we've got a fat, we've got a 12, an 8 and a 4. Now obviously, if I have any travels, I'd like some finer ones, but if I buy them 3 at a time, that's gonna be okay for me. So next time I might get the 10, the 6 and the 2, but I wanted those that I could throw into there, and I've used the middle one and the small one for Art in the Abbey. Now I forgot to take the photographs of the sketches, but I was sketching with a pencil, and I was failing fast. Now I did take a little brass bird, because obviously I'm being teacher, I have to take something to draw. So I took some little brass figures, and one was a little brass bird, and I wasn't going to do that because I was playing with my I was drawing with a paintbrush, and that's what I used to do I did this quite a long time ago, and I used to draw quite a lot with a paintbrush, and my hands are really bad at the minute. And then when I've been going through things, I've found must have done that last week. Don't remember doing that. I think I showed these last week, and I'd forgotten about them, and it's just using a brush, so I might do that a bit later. That's just taking a brush and using a paintbrush as a pencil, so there's no pencil drawing, it's just straight on starting to paint. Don't actually know where that one is. It's about somewhere, but I love the black and white. I've been playing about with things, so I thought, I can't find the other ones that I had in here. I thought I had some sketches, but I can't find them now. I thought I'd go back to that way of working because it's quite easy on the hands. So that's why I was in the Abbey trying to get my little mushroom things there. And even though my colour book probably is not going to come off now, I still want to have a bit of it's art for therapy, so I was having a play. And then you just build up the darks and darks until the very, very darks. They're just the first stages. But it was quite nice to just sit in the Abbey in the St Nicholas Centre and just sit there with one paintbrush and one tube of the only paint I had apart from and I was using the Neo water soluble pastel. So this isn't oil, this is water soluble. They don't make these anymore unless they're vintage, but it's water soluble by Caran d'Ache. But I love that size. So that's the end of my my little art haul. So what I decided to do was to put my paintbrushes in here, just temp, because I had them kicking about. So they've just been popped into there. And that probably will stay at the desk because they do fall out because I have so many. But it just means they are a bit tidier. Has anybody got any questions? So thanks for joining me, guys. Hope everybody's okay. Oh, hi Melody. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else? Just let me get my phone. So what I'm trying to do very quickly, and this is going to be boring for non-artists, I'm going to eat my little bowl of rice. Now what I do sometimes if I'm downstairs is I will put this in a pan. I'll warm it through this, or use cold rice. I will put a little drop of olive oil in a little small frying pan. Pop this in. Now I did before use a celery and a radish. But recently I've not been able to do that because I can't chop. So I just put a celery or an onion, anything that you've got in the fridge. Chop it up fine, bob it in for a minute or two. Garlic and ginger. Now again, I use lazy garlic and ginger because I can't chop and grate. And then when it all, and then I throw in the rice. And then when it all seems kind of warm, I just crack an egg on top and use chopsticks and just whizzle it round. And it's my kind of cheats version of egg fried rice, but it makes that I've had an egg, I've got a bit of protein in there, I've got a little bit of veg, and that's my breakfast. And it's very quick, and it's something that's not going to upset my pseudo gout. And the reason I have to eat this now, unfortunately, but I'll put you on silent, is because I must have, and this is what I've missed, I've got apple cider vinegar tablets in here, and I've got cherry pills. And if I don't have 6 of these a day and 6 of these, I get my headache back. And I know I've got gout in the head because I've never had gout in that finger, and now it's there. And I can't do with gout there. So I must munch that. I do start the morning with lemons. I've not had a cup of tea yet. I've just had a mouthful of lemon. But as I say, I said to my husband, don't wake me up. And he woke me up. He put me without a drink. But there we go. I got to sleep about 7 this morning, so I've only had a couple of hours. But hey ho. So what I'm going to do is, and that's what I was going to do, is ask hubby to look for something. That's what I was going to do. I may have to go look for it myself because bless him, it's taken him an hour to look for these, and there was exactly where I was. But somewhere, and if you've seen the video of the 600 colours from Printer Inks, you will know what I'm looking for. It's a very cheap sketchbook from WH Smith's, and it has all the colours in it because I can't remember how I did it. So I've been downstairs. I'll put those to one side. So there are 3 inks. He's going to clean the pots for me. And I brought these up. Now this particular one, this is the one that I used 6 professional colours. I've washed these out. Well, hubby did. So I found all these, and I think I'm going to be using this one because that's one I used last time. This looks like Hydra's colours, and again I've made a lot of these colours, so I thought I'd brought those to show through. The only thing I will say is if you use plastic, it will stain forever, so I'm not quite sure I want to do that. This has got the 6, but when I did my colour mixing, this has got 10, I think 2, 4, 6, 8, it's got 10. So I bang on about my horse. I'll show you the horse one, and I'll show you why I've got those out to show you. And the reason is that I'm not gonna, this is all colour this. So I just, and I've managed to get my books up here, so we're, I think, oh, it was the first one, so it's Animorphia, wasn't it? Right. So when I first started, oh, it must be in Animorphia. Okay then. I'll get the horse. Nope, that's the new one. And when I've done that, I'm going to work through all the colours again. That's my idea. That's what I was going to do. So we've got the horse. Eventually, I'm just going to move all these out because they're going to get knocked off, and I shall get upset for myself. And I've had to buy a pack of baby wipes. Although I didn't buy this one. This is the, well, I did obviously buy them. This is the one that I've had from the original set. From ages ago, so I found it. But we will need a baby wipe today. So this particular horse, I got now these aren't the same colours, but basically, oh, there's a carrier bag somewhere. There's a brown bag. Let me see if I have to be a bit careful, because if I do this, I'll have an avalanche. So basically, and how much that's left. We've got lemon yellow, cerulean blue, that's the original one, because obviously I brought them into my 6. I'll get my 6 out at the back. Sorry guys. That's the original 3, and I'm just looking for one. There she is. So as you know, I keep banging on about my 3 colours, and these 3 colours represent the printer inks. And remember what I say about your printer ink. Your printer ink can make any, your printer can make any colour on the planet, and these are the same colours. We've got a magenta, or we've got alizarin crimson, we've got the very pale cyan, cerulean blue, and we've got the very cool lemon yellow. So with that in mind, and I'm not sure if it was before or after, I made all these colours from these three. I also made quite a few hundred colours, and there is a video, but I can't remember how I did it. So this is very dusty, but all this is pure colour. So one spray and it's back to reality again. So basically we took the yellow, and I've obviously messed it up. The lemon yellow was here. The alizarin crimson was there, and the cerulean blue is there. And this is what I'm going to do with the printer inks. Let's move that for a second. So what we do is we take the lemon yellow and the alizarin crimson and we make an orange. And then we take the orange and alizarin crimson and we make a cadmium red. Now, these aren't pure named ones because obviously it's the pigment name. These are a mixture. And they're not as good because it does things to the actual paint, but for our purposes it's perfectly okay. And then we take the orange and the yellow and we make a lemon yellow, a cadmium yellow. Then we take cerulean blue and lemon yellow and we make a green. And then we take a bit more yellow and make a lighter green. And then we take our cerulean blue, alizarin crimson, we make a purple. And then we take purple and cerulean blue, we make a purple blue. But if you look at that, it's not a good purple blue. It's purple, but it's not a good French ultramarine, which is what I wanted. So the last ones are, so we've made all these colours here. Oh, so we've made them all. Yep, so we've made them all. So we've got 10 colours from 3, or we've got an extra 2, 4, 6, got an extra 7. So that gives us 10 colours. But I wasn't happy with the purple, but it didn't matter. And that's all the colour. I mixed hundreds, and that's what I've used. So I've still got quite a bit in there. But while I was using this, making these colours, I then coloured this page. And this is one of my favourite pages, but the purples are dull. Oh, thank you, Della. Hi, Della. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. That's what I was doing, guys. I was just having a look to see if I could get chat up so I can keep up with it. Oh, hi, Carol. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else popping in? So as you can see, the purples are dull. They're gorgeous, but they're not French ultramarine or violet. They're very dull. But all those greens were made by making different blues and different yellows to make different greens just from those 3 colours. So all those beautiful greens were made with these. And I can't get rid of this because I want to do another page. I've lost. I'm back again, hopefully. So these are the trays are from Wilko, them fit quite well. Those in a second. So in here, put that back. Sit this there. So for my next trick, I bought 6, and there is a video on this, I'm sure there is. I bought 6 professional watercolours. Are we back, guys? I bought 6 professional watercolours, and I put them on here. So we've got a cadmium red, alizarin crimson. Now this has been kicking about for a couple of years, so it's a bit dusty. French ultramarine, cerulean blue, lemon yellow, and cadmium yellow. And of course, here they are. And these are the Winsor & Newton professional watercolours. But so those are my 6 colours, and I made hundreds of colours, and that was the results. Of course, I did have my lovely purples. I've got some lovely bright blues and pinky purples and French ultramarines. So I then thought, well, okay, then it's good to have 3, but if we can get 6 colours, it's even better. So that's why I'm going to be making with pigment, and my daughter's going to help me. I'm going to make 6 watercolours. I'm going to make Alizarin crimson, cadmium red, French ultramarine, cerulean blue, cadmium yellow, and cadmium and lemon yellow in my Bunny's Design set. And then from these 6, you can buy lots of other different colours from other thingies, but you will know all about colour mixing. So, hope that made sense. I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to eat my rice, and then I shall come back in about 5 minutes, guys, because I've had a break on there and I don't know where it is. So when we come back, we'll be making 600 colours, and I've got to go find my book, which is downstairs, so it takes me a while to get up. And I want to find the book so I can tell you and show you what I did. Because I can't munch through my rice when people are listening to me. And the other thing I need to do is get my phone, because I think I went offline, didn't I, guys? It is, isn't it? And although they're not technically pure pigments, it's perfectly adequate. But while you do this, you will learn all about your colours, and it's a very simple way. And I'm looking for that box. I can't imagine where I put it. I knew if I put that there, I'd want to go in that cabinet. And of course this principle works for, I put all these things away in the cupboard, and of course a word of warning, guys, do not let your cats near your pencil cases, because they scratch them quite easily. This is the baby I want to get out. So when we've done it with printer inks, we're going to be doing it with these. And remember what I said about the colours that I didn't like? I'm going to swap them out. I'll do that very quickly, then I'll finish on colour mixing. I just have to put my camera somewhere safe. In fact, I do have a little laptop which I might just plug in. But these are my 6. And when we open up, you will see that I bought this second hand as well. But you will see that there's intense blue. Well, I'm going to put that one in there. And the rose one is the wrong one. So I won't be using those colours. I'm going to be using my 6 and black and white. And I shall be filling in the colour wheel. There's a colour wheel underneath to mix all the colours. And I just need to change a few of the names because they're not quite perfect. And then I'll be a happy girl. I always have trouble with colour wheels because they're not my colours, and I can't get the colours I want using the wrong blue. It's impossible. Did we manage to come back online? The internet's playing up something terrible at the minute. And very quickly, I'll show you this. My daughter Right, sorry guys about that. Where was I? Oh yes, my daughter bought me this for Christmas, and we have to have a drum roll for this. Oh, wait a minute, it was on the front. So this is a Vistaprint, I think it's Vistaprint calendar. Da-da! The boy's on here. So that's the boy, and here he is in his splendor, being a boy. He's trying to pinch her sandwich in the car. That's what he looks like when we don't brush him, when he gets really long. And what she did basically is take photographs of all the pets. So this is little Toffee, which we don't see very often. She was found in Filey. She's a little tortoise shell. And then we have Georgie Porgy, who's the daddy, and this is Big Mama, the little one that bites. I'll catch up with chat in just a second, guys. These were the babbies, the 3 babbies, which are now huge. They were the babies when they were a couple of days old, a week old or so. And then we have Diddy Dexter, who we lost last year, and Gigi, the lurcher, pigs. called a pigs. Everybody says, have you got a pig? Yeah, we have a pig. Then the latest one is, and she'll kill me because I can't remember his name. We rescued, there was a little guinea pig that was being bullied by the other 2 guinea pigs, so she rescued him, and his name has completely gone out the window. And they are together, so he has a playmate now. So there's our other little guinea pig. They occupy Amy's room. And this is Sooty, who we lost last year, Big Sooty. So you see how he looks, the spit of that card, which I can't put my hand on now. So he looks just like, even with the flecks of grey, because he was getting old. And he used to bully poor Toffee. And then the Elf Master being the Elf Master with his wonky eyes and all his toys. And then here's Betsy, and she was a long time coming round, and now she's the smiley little girl now. Betsy's quite old. Well, I say quite old, she's a little bit old. And then here's, of course, the Bungle when he was a babby. Snotty, and he's still snotty, bless him. So there's Bungle. So we have quite a zoo. And then, because she'd lost all her kittens, we ended up with Bungle, and this is after 11 days. It took 11 days for them to say, well, I need a mummy and I need a son. So they're inseparable now. And when she had to have a dental last week, or the week before, we squashed in the cat carry Bungle, and he stayed all day at the vet's, being admired and stroked and pampered. I don't actually think he went back in there. I think he was just wandering around, like a bit like Garfield. I've not seen Garfield for years, and I watched it the other day because I was poorly. And yes, strutting round. I'm beautiful, stroke me now. And so when she woke up, he was there, and he was there when she was put under, and she wasn't stressed at all. So Bungle comes in handy, bless him. And I'll look at chat in just a second, guys. Let me get through this. So that's our Bungle, and that's December, and then we've come back round to the big monster. Bonus print, is it? Maybe it wasn't Vista print, this one. I bought mine that I showed last year. I bought mine for Vista print. So I've had to look at the monster who was behind me. And we call him a monster, but we love him. But he's the naughtiest boy on the planet. So that was a very quick, I wanted to show that because I've now got it back onto my desk. So very quickly on my desk before I finish my rice. It's still quite messy, but I've managed to get the drawers there, all the colour books, the Bible journaling, the couple of the colour mixing books, which I haven't managed to read yet. And at the top there, I'm going to have all my Victorian boxes. And then I've got my chameleon pens and a drawer. And I've just bobbed that there because that's what my laptop was on. So I've had 2 laptops and 2 things going for 3 days, and I cannot get one to talk to the other. And when I do, it won't let me upload live to YouTube. And I was in tears again last night, so I'm not a happy girl. So let me just see if I can look at chat, because the problem is chat, I'm here and chat's there, so I'm missing everybody. Oh, hi May, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else popping in? So what I might do is just have my lunch and waffle for a minute, and then I'll stop this video and restart it when we do the printer inks, because it's going to get quite intense, is that. So hubby's brought me back my little makeup jars, and this is the makeup, although I've gone back onto expensive, I've used this for about 10 years, and it was Gok Wang that said that this Aldi face cream was good, and I've been using it for years, and now I've got my children onto it. for many years I used oil of Ulay because it's very light. So I bought that for my daughters. So my daughters have face wax and oil of Ulay. And the reason is, and it's just the liquid one, it's the beauty liquid, the thick one. When they're young, they don't need that. But I wouldn't have done it, but my ex-mum-in-law, who had amazing skin, actually did use oil of Ulay. And when I was married when I was 21, she just said, do this. And so I've been using face cream since I was 21. So people say about my skin, now I don't like the sun. I love the sun to boil the bones because it's good for arthritis. But I used to go to Spain, I used to go to Tenerife, and I used to come back and people were saying, when are you going away? And I was saying, I've been away, but I wouldn't put my face in the sun. For two reasons. One is I'm always reading or doing, I used to do embroidery in those days, or sketching, and you can't have the sun in your eyes. So that was the main reason. So I always kept covered up. So maybe that's a combination. But I read in a book that the French girls, now maybe it's wrong now, I read it a long time ago, the French, they start using face cream when they're 17. And we start using it when we're 25. So I've given it to my 18-year-old and my 20. She's 21. They're 19 and 21 in May. Just it's a very simple one. You face wipe, bit of cream on when you go to bed. Face wipe, bit of cream when you wake up. But that's not when then I was older, and I used to still use that until I watched a program, and again it may even be 20 years ago, so apologise to Kok Wang. He did a face cream test for the ladies, and some had £100 pots and some had, these were originally 99p, and then they went up to 1.99. Now some are different because I always use the same one, and a nighttime and a daytime, and then they changed, and it's never been the same since. But I did use this one, and I'll go back to this one, I think. Again, the little pot, I suppose when you see the big pot of what I use now. When we go on the boat, this is normally on offer, so hubby buys me this. And the reason is I just absolutely adore these pots. So when I make my paints, I will have probably, and of course, this one will be fine for ink because it's not see-through. So that's the night and that's the day one. And I use these, and I haven't got any, so we'll have to go today. This is the one that I've used, and I'm pampering myself. For the last few years I've been using that, but for many years, in fact there's a bottle of it there, the Oil of Ulay Beauty Fluid. But I think I like the idea of just having a little bit thicker cream, and that's what these are. So I think when you're young, the Oil of Ulay is brilliant, and the Beauty Fluid, but this one just makes a difference. And as I say, it did win the competition probably 15-20 years ago, when I think it was How to Look Good Naked was the program with Kok Wang, and he had all the ladies do tests on face cream for so many days, and some had this one, some had a medium priced one, some had £50, some had £100, and this one came out tops. And it was, I say, it used to be 99p, and I have by accident, well, not by accident, but I've bought there's Lidl's and Aldi's, but I think this little one is the better one. So obviously I've got lots and lots of pots. So turn these over, and there's a little well, and that's what I'm going to put these on, because if you are going to play with these printer inks, you need to be either outside or crazy, because these will be everywhere. So I'm going to put a drop on here, and then I'm going to play. Now when I did this originally, I had these in a plastic container. Everything was in a plastic container. But I don't have carpet in the bedroom. I just have a rug, so it's not going to be the end of the world. But I'm only going to be using drops, and I have some little droppers. Oh my goodness me! I actually put my hand on them. I must have bought these at a model show, 60p. So look at this for absolute, can't get into it, but. So I will actually stop this video because, and we've got 1, 2, 3. I would use a little dropper. This Wilko's was £3.50, I think. But it's in a bottle, so it's actually easier than if you were messing about with these. If you're doing these, you need to be outside in the garage somewhere. Because as I say, whatever they spill on, even the glass, they will stain. Has anybody got any questions? Let's see if I can go back to chat. I'm just eating my boring rice. And I don't think hubby can find my original book. And I do need my original book. Did I put it in there? I don't think I did. See if I can find chat on my phone, because chat on there is terrible. Because it's behind me. So what I'm going to do, thank you, Marilyn. So I need to find the book because it would be easier. And what I will do first of all, I mean, these were £1, I think, or €1. That's another one that I've mixed the colours from. You can tell the greens, the purples. Now these look like professionals because they're sticky. Yeah, you see that stickiness? These are professional watercolours. And again, I've got, you can tell the ones I haven't mixed because they're the blobs. So we've got a blob of cerulean blue, and these must be these professional ones because of the size of the tube. You see, that's a bigger tube nozzle. So these are professional watercolors. We've got Elysian Crimson, Lemon Yellow, and then I've made the purple. Or I put the blue out. No, I may have put the cadmium red out. Yes, I've made the greens, I've made the orange, I've made the purple. There is 6 colours there, so these are my 6 colours, because I think I'd realised to get the French ultramarine and the nice purples, it's easier to buy, and it just makes them a bit easier, that's all, with the cad red and the lemon yellow and the French ultramarine. So 6 colours is not going to break the bank, but it's still quite good. So I'll make the 6 colours from the printer inks here, and then we can work from, and we don't need very much out, so we'll work from the 3 ink wells and we'll make 10 colours, and then we'll take those 10 colours and we'll make 600. We might 600. We might not get 700, but we'll definitely get 600. I shall come back in a few minutes. I must just eat the rice and drink. I haven't had a drink yet this morning, guys, so the gob's not organised. My Yorkshire gob isn't in gear. I don't think there's anything else I've got to show. I think that's all about up to date. Apart from the headache. Now my headache seems a little bit better. I did have 2 pills last night. So has anybody got any questions, guys, before I disappear? Sorry about the munching. Has anybody got any questions? One thing I did forget to say is these colours are very bright and they are very, they're not really true as good as these because of the pigment, obviously, because this is an ink and this is a pigment. But the principles of colour mixing is the same. So if you can spend a day or so outside and playing with these colours, which for £3 some, once you get that behind you, even if you've only done it once, by the time you come to mixing your watercolours, you're more confident, you won't use as much, and you will know how much yellow to mix with the red and the pinks and the reds. Now I am going to use, instead of 3 colours, which I originally used, I will be using 6. And that's, as again, purely to just make it so much easier. But that means that you could buy 6 professional watercolours, you could buy 6 professional oil paints, and you can buy 6 professional acrylics, instead of buying a cheaper version of hundreds of colours of these. Although these are really good. And I would say that these are the best. And I'll go through that as well when I go through the watercolours next time, because when you buy professional watercolours, they are sticky and they don't dry as well. They are designed to be in a palette. They're not designed to be on a paper palette like I use, and they're not designed to go on ordinary watercolour paper, on ordinary paper in a colour book. They are designed for watercolour paper. So I would stick to the Cotman, but I would stick to 6 colours. I have recently bought a green and a purple in my oils because I can't mix because of my hand. But if you can do that, that would be wonderful. Has anybody else got any questions? I will restart the video in a second to a new part. So actually, bless him it for me. So what do we think, guys? Should we carry on, or shall I do that as a separate video? What shall we do? I think I might do it separate because it's me troughing. So what I've done is I've found I do of mixing. So hubby found my really cheap little sketchbook, and this is how I did. Now I've put colour wheel using 3 inks. So these are printer inks, so they're not going to be like Now that's, you see, that's gouache, and that one is printer inks, but the principle is the same. I've got a purple, I've got a purple blue, I've got a blue green, I've got a green, I've got a green blue, I've got a green, I've got a green yellow, I've got a yellow green, I've got a yellow, I've got an orange, an orange yellow. It should be a yellow orange actually. Then I've got an orange, then I've got an orange yellow. So I'll go through all these because these are tertiary colours. So although we've got our primaries, we've got our square 2 primaries, remember, not 1, 2, and then we've got 3 secondaries, and then we've got a tertiary colour in between each one. We've got 6 tertiary colours. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. That's 16. So this one, and I've done 16 on them all as well. So I have to work out how I'm going to do that. Unless I do it on here. So what I can do is 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. I can do 9 on there. So that's what I'll do. I'll mix my colours and then I'll work through these and show you how I got 600 colours. Oh, excuse me. Has anybody got any questions? So sorry guys about the munching. Do you want me to carry, what do you think? Shall I carry on or shall I do a different video? I just have to munch through my boring rice. We'll see how we go. And this is why they fell off. This is why really you want to be on a tray or outside. So that one going there, that one goes there, that one goes there. So of course this is working with 6 colours. So the first thing I've got to do is make my other colours. And this is where, and because it was £3 something for these, and that was each, it was £3.50 for a set of 3 printer inks each. It was £3.50 for a set of 3 printer inks. And wash my brush out and be a happy girl. So I need to get some water. Thank you, Melody. Yeah, it is cold. It's difficult to eat cold rice. But when you're hungry, actually, it's quite nice. Very quickly, while we're on that subject, I have been using, I've been buying Japanese and Malaysia, Vietnamese cookery books and looking at that. And the one thing I did read, well, I read 2 things. One is that before the 1970s, in Japan, they'd never heard of gout. Nobody had ever had gout in Japan. And that's because they had a very healthy diet. And it was only after 1970s, 80s, I just can't remember which decade it was, but it wasn't so long ago, that they started, when the Western food started to come across, mentioning no names, but something with added bacon. I keep picking on McDonald's, but hey ho. They'd never had gout, so I thought, right. And then I did buy this lovely book I've bought quite a few books really quickly, guys, because I know this is boring for people who are not interested in. And again, all these books are second hand because I didn't really know what I was doing. I am making this diet up as I go along. And this is an experiment. It's a human experiment to get rid of my headache. And it was working until I started eating odd things, Western food again. But this is a fantastic book. And she breaks it down. And I've been watching a few people on YouTube. The Neighbours, Neighbours, which is a Vietnamese couple. I've been watching their food, and it's so nice. And if you're from a Far East or Asian Eastern, you won't relate to this. But if you're Westernized, you will relate to. If you have to suddenly start eating, very, very healthy, it's so difficult to make recipes up and think, well, I can have that, but I can't have that, and I can't have that, and I can't have that. But with a lot of these recipes and videos I've been watching, I can eat nearly everything. I wouldn't have the shrimp, and I'm not really allowed soy sauce, but if they think I'm going to eat a bowl of white rice on its own. I'm buying an Instapot, but I've been looking, hubby bought me the Wilko's one. And then the spices and herbs as well. So this is a work in progress. And when I'm very, very good, see, I can eat everything on there. Not so much the miso, but a little bit would be fine. I can't have shrimps or prawns, but I did have a little bit of chicken. I've been cooking a lot of very mild Thai curries, and everybody's loved them. But of course, I've had a little bit of chicken, and I think that even just having the smidgiest amount of meat has set off the pseudo-gout, because my levels of uric acid are really, really high. But the lovely thing is that something like this, I see, again, this is I'm not allowed cabbage, but I can put something else in that. If you put something else in that, like a seaweed or something, then I can make a recipe almost exact. And it's just so nice to see, instead of meat and 2 veg and potatoes, I'm keeping off potatoes at the minute. It's just so nice to be able to eat healthily. And I hope I'm making sense, guys, because my headache is so thick today. I have been up all night with wet things on the back of my neck. Any questions? Well, I can't say that, May, because I'll get into trouble. But all I'm saying is, oh, that's what I was going to show you in this book. And it was £5 with free oh gosh, it's such a heavy book. I was reading it, and it was worth it for this tiny little bit of information here. Eating for health. And it says, most Asian food is really healthy. So that means that I can have a lot of it. A Japanese diet, for instance, is a guarantee against heart disease, overweight, and gout. And it's the first time I've ever read that. So this book was worth it just for that sentence, because now I know I need to stick to a Japanese diet, but obviously I've got to keep off the meats, but most of them. But what that gives me hope that in a couple of years, or in a few, hopefully it's going to take years to do this, I can lower my uric acid through not eating certain foods. And hopefully I'll get rid of this uric acid. And then when it goes down a little bit, I will be able to introduce the Japanese amount of food. Now, when I curries and things, I use a chicken breast between 3 of us. Because whereas in America and in England, we have our meat and then we have our vegetables, in Japan, they have their vegetables and they have their meat. So what would feed one person I mean, I may be wrong, but normally and I've been cooking for years, in the Western, and I say Western, and I don't mean to be thingy, but you know, the healthy food and the unhealthy food, if we put it that way. If you have a meal in England, you will need a chicken breast for everybody. If you are cooking the Asian and Eastern, and I don't know, because she tries to, I thought it was a gentleman, actually, beg your pardon, but it isn't. She tries to explain why she was chopping it up into Indian and Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and she's chopped it up to recipes rather than areas, Thailand soups and curries, Burmese, so she's, and Singapore, and that's how she's cooking it up. Now, there are some gorgeous recipes I've been looking at, and if I was not well, then I would really love. They're quite meaty, but and I've also been inspired by another gentleman, and I'll have to say his name because I've been watching him all night, bless him. Bear with me a second, and apologies if I say his name wrong. And of course it's not going to come up now. Mark Waynes. And what he's been doing is going round in Japan, Asia, Bangkok, eating foods, and a lot of the beautiful dishes, I'm able to think, well, I can have that. So it's inspired me to cook a bit. Oh, hi, Barbara. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. We are going to get onto some art in a second. But that's kind of made me feel slightly better. So instead of being on a Western diet, there'd be kind of 3 things I could have and 10 things I couldn't. When I'm looking through here, there's just like the cabbages where I can put a different cabbage in. I have a little bit of the tamarind sauce and the soy sauce. I can't have the peanuts, but I can have another nut. Mind you, that particular one probably wasn't as a good one to look for. But the little dumplings and things, and I was watching another man with his rice things as well, so I'm going to try that. So I will be cooking on the other channel. So hubby, I wanted a pot that I could cook rice with, and also other things, because I can't stand and cook for a long time. So I was looking at the Instapot. Now hubby bought me the Wilko's pressure cooker, but I'm not happy about it. Now the one I'd love is the Blumenhest, this one, and the reason I want this one is because being having arthritis, this is the pot to have if you can afford it. It has a button, let me do it, and when you press that button it releases the steam, so you don't have to put your hand near the button. Now, not that I'm particularly frightened, but when I've got arthritis, I'm not as quick as I used to be. So I just love the idea that that would be so safe for a disabled person, because you push that button and then you leave it for a bit, and then you can go to it and you know it's not going to be hot and steamy to a frightening degree. But the only other advantage of the Instapot is the handle. The handle is like a double handle. Oh, I'll show you this. I was doing the washing. Look at this. I've been able to do the washing. It's the one thing I can do, but I can't hang out. Bungle is trying to... he's waiting. He's waiting for her. Look, she knows. He's very naughty, is Bungle now. He's taken over from Sooty, and he picks on the little girl. So that's a bit naughty. And here he is, having a wash in the basket, going, I'm not doing anything, mummy, I'm just sitting in a basket. The fact that he's terrorizing that other cat has nothing to do with it. So I was poorly yesterday. I was on the sofa, but I thought I must do something. So I managed to put most of that washing isn't washing, it's to be this little man I was watching, and I took a photograph, and it was 11 things to do with rice sheets. And again, there's a lot of things I couldn't have, and you have to forgive me because I forget what I was saying. So anyway, sorry, that was very boring, guys. I've had my, oops, I've got a tiny bit more rice to eat. And I've had these little dishes for years. But the other thing about it is, everybody says I've lost so much weight. I haven't, but eating this way has made me slimmer. And I'm also eating smaller portions as well, which is better for the digestion. So I'm going to have 2 apple cider. Now I'm going to go off the apple cider tablets, and I'm going to have apple cider in liquid form. One is it's cheaper, and the other one is it's easy to swallow. So my cherry pills, and I mustn't miss the cherry pills, because if I do, I'm in so much pain. Quick slurp, guys, sorry. I bought my daughters these and all her friends for Christmas, to encourage them to have water. So I've been quite good for a while. So has anybody got any questions? Let me have a look, see if we can find our chat. So I've been having a look at things, and it's all trial and error. It's all pretend. It's all, I'm making it up as I go along. I think what we do with our food is we have a favourite food and we eat it all the time. Whereas I think, oh, got some tea. I think we should, years ago when I was little, special occasions was the favourite food. And now we're so well off, we can have that favourite food every day. And I don't really think it's good for us. And somebody brought an egg custard in the other day, so I had that. And then I had 2 biscuits yesterday, and it just really, it's ridiculous, but it doesn't. So I have to be so good. Right. I'm going to restart. I think I'm going to restart this, guys. I'm going to restart my colour mixing. I shall go through the book first, see what I did, because I can't remember. So I'll stop this video because I've waffled about food and all sorts of other junk. So thanks for watching, guys, and part 2 of Live Thursday will be mixing printer inks. Mixing 600 colours. In fact, very quickly I'll tell you how many I got. I did write down how many I got in the end. I got 32 with the reds, 67 with those, 52 of those, 37 of those, 40 of those, 45 oranges and greens, 29 greens and reds. So we should be able to get quite a good amount of colours on there. So thanks for watching. That's the end of part. Oops. That's the end of part 1 of this Thursday, and I should be back in a bit, guys.